Hello and welcome to the Eectron 9. Now we've got thunder and lightning at the moment, which means the lightning rods have been prepared and the Frankenstein monster is just waiting for that hit. And then it shall be alive. Alive. But that's not what this equipment is linked up to at the moment. This is my other ongoing, well, this isn't an ongoing project, this is just one that I'm doing. My Acorn Electron laptop. Now, the Electron laptop LCD, it's got a different pattern on the screen today, but sometimes it starts up with a full white screen. I now have two functioning Electron laptops, well, electrons, instead of just one. And we have also increased the size of the heat sink on that. Let's get in, there we go. So that's got a big heat sink and still gets horribly hot to watch. This is how long you can hold your finger on for. Little longer with the bigger heat sink, but still not long. Let's do it again. Big heat sink definitely makes a difference. But you may be able to hear a staticky sort of noise. That is the dictaphone, which will be my micro cassette drive. Let's see if we can get into a position that you can see it spinning round. There we go. You can see the little tape guide head thing spinning round. And of course the little power LED I'm going to be glowing, which isn't glowing very brightly because it's got a bit of a big resistor on it. And there it is. The switch mode regulator doing its thing. Doesn't seem to be interfering with the camera, but I don't know about the audio in. But if you do this, well, it's not supposed to cut out, hang on. I'll just pause it and then I'll sort it. Okay, back to where we were before all of that happened. Just before I go with the cassette picking up EMI, because of the lightning which seems to have passed now, I've got all the plugs. They're linked to major equipment such as this setup, my oscilloscope, which is 30 odd years old, linked up to the surge protector to protect them from surges. Now then, as you may notice, there is only about 2 millivolts of electrical noise on the power to the tape player, which is adequate in my eyes. I don't see the point in adding bigger caps. It's also a nice 2% tolerance one, which means the cap is only off by 2%. Now let's do the EMI thing. Listen carefully. I hope you can hear this. That's what I'm shielding my circuit from. That's the trouble with switch nodes. They are very noisy and need a lot of filtration. I don't know a huge amount about how they work, but I do know they're very noisy and well, I have a rough idea. They kind of switch and use op amps to compare the voltages outputs. I have an idea of how they work, I just don't know them very well, like linears over there. But linears turn your waste energy into heat, these don't. This thing is producing so little heat, the heatsink isn't even warm. Now this, that looks like a nice transistor here, or another regulator, is actually a diode. I didn't even know they made diodes in that package until I embarked upon this project, and that was last night I found that out, when I started to pull the components off yesterday. Now, I haven't got a hand-drawn thing of the schematic, or Dave CAD, as Dave would call it. So what we have got is the schematic I followed on the data sheet, and my laptop's gone into standby. I'll bring it up. There we go, nice Vaio. Good old Sony, we're knockout for the internet. And that is what I followed. Only thing is, this cap is 2200 UF and this one's 470 UF. That is about 40 volts. That is about, well, I don't know the voltage of it, I just know it's high. And I've got the 3.3 volt version, which is, yeah, and this is your basic layout of it inside. So if I could be asked, I could go through it with you, but it would be a thing. Well, just leave that to Dave Jones to explain how switch mode regulators work to the experts, basically, who have full qualifications and jobs in electrical engineering, rather than me, who's just a hobbyist and has holes in the knowledge here and there. So yes, it's powering two very exciting things. In fact, it's mainly to power this, but it'd be nice to add a power LED in as well. I will need to play around with resistor values to get the LED shining brightly, but not so it blows up or goes pop and then a puff of smoke comes out, as I've had on many occasions of overdoing LEDs. 9 volts, they go, make a pop and a little puff of smoke goes. It's still very hot and humid. The rain has subsided along with the thunder and lightning, and my Frankenstein monster is still sitting in the garage untwitching. I also went off for lunch in the period that I braked and had sardines. I can not get enough fish. I love fish. Gorgeous. The storm hasn't affected any of my equipment either, which is good, so everything can go back as it is. Actually, the camera picks up the oscilloscope surprisingly well, although it does seem to add its own certain amount of light. That's better. So yeah, you don't have too much noise, and it's, well, this is the second time it's been on camera. First time was I want to thank Benway for shouting me out. So yeah, that's my switch mode supply for that. They aren't too hard to build, they're surprisingly more simple than you'd think, they're just awkward. I had to bend the pins to get it to fit in the breadboard. So, I end it here. The electronics is pretty much done for this. I need to solder this onto a circuit board now, aka that circuit board. Might as well have both regulators on one board. It saves PCB, which I don't have a lot of. And it's running two very exciting devices, but I'll need to hack this up with motor control, get all the various things sorted, and it'll be finished. The electronics. And then, well, I need to start working on the casing, which I'm thinking of using the Dead Electron's casing as the monitor. Comment on what you think about using the Dead Electron as the case. Just remove the motherboard and that, and then have it aside for parts to repair other electrons, as long as it's not in the ULA, that is. Tell me what you think on that. I reckon it's a good idea, and it's recycling at the end of the day. Anyway, before I bore you all to death with my technical expertise, I will cut it at an end there. So, thanks for watching, and I do hope you've enjoyed this not as educational as the last video, but it's progress, and I will solder this up at some point. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe in the next few days. Thanks for watching!